Okay, so I just finished watching Made in Abyss for the first time, and honestly, I don't know really what I expected. I think I assumed it would be an innocent and fun series just because it has children in it. Right? Right? Well, let's just say I was wrong. And I know I'm pretty out of the loop since this came out like 5 years ago, but hey, there's a lot of anime out there, so don't at me. Also, this video contains minor spoilers for the series, so just be warned. Made in Abyss takes place in, as mentioned in the title, the Abyss. A large chasm at the center of a city that at first glance seems to be endless. Within the Abyss, there are multiple layers that have different biomes, and within these layers lie unique inhabitants and treasures. The main reason that people risk their life in the Abyss is to find these rare treasures called relics. Relics are unique items that come from a forgotten society lost long ago. And most of these relics can be used in and outside the Abyss. But the main reason people seek out these relics is, well, because they're extremely valuable. Aw, gross, I stepped in shit. Now, on to the protagonists. First, we have Reg, a seemingly indestructible robot boy. And let me just say, Reg, oh yeah, Reg's my man. He may have a few problems like jumping into a fight without a plan or his lack of knowledge on the Abyss, but he's just so damn likable. He fights to protect what he loves no matter the cost, and eventually you get to see him actually develop a bit and think before he acts. Reg is just an overall good dude and a great character. You especially see this when he tries to help everybody he meets and apologizes often when he feels he overstepped. And in a way, I feel like this is why Nanachi calls him a pushover, which I will get back to them in a minute. And now on to Rico. You gave me the ugly! Okay, so the problem I have with Riko, and I'm pretty sure very many other people have, is she's just a burden the whole time. She wants so badly to go into the Abyss, but once she gets there, anytime something bad happens, she's just useless. For instance, Ozen, Riko's mom's mentor, tests them to see if they're ready to go further into the Abyss. And while Reg is getting his absolute ass beat by a 50-plus-year-old woman with the strength of King Kong, Riko is just sitting in the corner crying. Granted, I know she can't do much since she's just an average little girl, but her actions in situations like this make her intolerable to me at times. Plus, she puts herself in the position she's in since she wanted to seek out her mother, instead of waiting till she is older and able to handle herself a lot better in the Abyss. But don't get me wrong, Riko does have her usefulness at times, like knowing mostly everything about the Abyss it seems, and cooking? And she has some Boy Scout survival training, but that's about it. Hopefully eventually down the line she becomes more reliable. Also, her mom married a basic ass side character. Like, look at this man. Now, let me just mention Nanachi's character just for a minute because I just love them. And no, I'm not a furry. Nanachi is arguably the most complex character in the series so far, but as you discover more of their past, you start to understand why they are the way they are. And Nanachi's backstory is a lot to swallow. Now, I really appreciated the attention to detail they put into the major characters and their backstories. It felt like you really get to know them and what they've been through that made them who they are now. Especially because so far this series only has 13 episodes and a movie out right now, with season 2 coming out this summer. So it's impressive to me that there was so much world building and character growth that happens in such a short time without it feeling rushed. Now let's get on to the biggest attraction of Made in Abyss, the world. At first glance, I initially thought this series was going to be some Studio Ghibli ripoff. But then I looked through some discussions online and that opinion was quickly shut down. And when I watched it, finally after all these years, I get the hype finally. The world is just so gorgeous and at times a bit eerie. But I couldn't help but feel that there was something darker to this world underneath it all before they even hinted at it. And let me say, yeah, it can get pretty dark, and there were some scenes that I won't get into that even I found rough to watch, and I made it through another, which was super graphic, campy as hell, but graphic. And I like the idea that the Abyss has some sort of curse effect, and the deeper you go into it, the Abyss curse gets worse. For example, the first layer has headaches and nausea, while the fourth layer has full body pain so intense it causes dizziness, internal and external bleeding out of every orifice. Oof, that sounds rough. The curses also handicap people while they're facing dangerous wildlife that live in the Abyss, like the Crimson Splitjaw seen in episode 1. It's an added consequence of ascending in the Abyss and sells the fact that this place is no joke. Moving on to the music in the series, and let me just say, it fucking slaps. This is honestly one of the few times I actually know the composer for this anime. That person being Kevin Penkin, and he's the composer on a few other big titles like Tower of God and Rising of the Shield Hero. And my god, he really nailed the soundtrack for Made in Abyss, and if you haven't listened to it, go check it out right now. Now, my only complaint about the show so far besides Rico is that the beginning starts a little slow and doesn't really get going until about 4 or 5 episodes in. Also, it feels like the main characters are speeding through the abyss a bit too fast since they're more than halfway there by episode 10. But what do I know, I haven't seen the movie or read the manga yet. Otherwise, I think Made in Abyss is fantastic. It's got great, likable characters, mostly, an engaging story that keeps me intrigued the whole way through, and an incredible world that's filled with mystery that I want to know more about. Overall, I give Made in Abyss a 9. It's a great series, but a little too short for me right now to justify a 10, especially since the first season is just the beginning. But I think if the series keeps it up, it could end up being one of my favorite anime of all time. So yeah guys, what do you think about Made in Abyss? Is it one of your favorites, or did you find it to be a bit too boring or overhyped? Let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear your opinions. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Also, if there's any series you want me to talk about, let me know down in the comments as well. And lastly, don't forget to follow me on Twitter since I post there regularly on the channel and other random anime stuff. Anyways, thanks guys. Later.